Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Superficial Spirit. It's me, your favorite neighborhood celebrity, Peter Breeze. And today's show is well, I've never had somebody with this job on the show before, but I do know this person from back in the day. Most of the people I interview are people that have been in my peripheral, but we have Miss Cadence Calibre here. Hi, Cadence.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You look like I think you are maybe the hottest guest. Like looking at you on the screen right now, it's like you're looking 10 out of 10, babe. 10 out of 10.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I was just saying that I've never had somebody who does your job before, and you are a adult content creator on OnlyFans.
I sure am. Yeah.
And I have desperately wanted to interview somebody who does this job because I am realizing that I'm kind of a prude. I never thought I was back in the day, honey. But now I'm like, I can't believe people do those things sexually, not necessarily posting and doing what you're doing, but I'm so like curious about the nuts and bolts of doing it. So thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
Of course. Yeah, happy to.
You came up in conversation, I don't know, a month or two ago. I was getting my hair done by a mutual friend, Jay, and he was like, "The only two people I ever see on my feed are you and Cadence." I was like, "Oh, crazy! Like, what's Cadence up to now?" And he kind of gave me a quick lowdown. He was like, "She's making lots of money," and I'm like, "Oh, what is she doing?" And then I looked. I don't know why you didn't come up in my algorithm like for a while, but damn, I was not expecting that. Holy shit. Yeah, you like full glow up, full glow up.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind couple of years, the last 2 years, for
Is
sure.
that how long it's been since you've been doing it?
I started doing OnlyFans during the pandemic, like in the middle of 2020, but for quite some time, I was very off and on about it. Or approached it as a side hustle, and to be honest, like, when I started, I was very prudish about it, and I had a lot of, like, reservations and fears of, like, family and people finding out about it. Um, so it wasn't until yeah, like, 2 years ago almost that I really was like, "Fuck it. I'm I'm going for it." Yeah, and
Yeah,
it paid off really big, really fast once
okay,
I
well,
did.
yeah, we'll get to the juicy soon, but I want to go actually first. You just mentioned like being prudish about friends and family, but if I do remember correctly, you made a post recently where you're like, when you see a family member subscribe to OnlyFans and then you like delete them. Did that actually happen?
So, I can't say for sure that it was a family member, but I will say that, like, I don't have the same last name as my family, and I haven't for a long time, but, my birth family name is very rare. It's like an obscure German name that nobody has, and I did see someone subscribed to my OnlyFans who, like, all I saw was their email address, which had that name in the email address, and I was like, the odds of that person not being related to me are extremely slim to none. So my assumption is that it is someone who heard something through the grapevine and was like, couldn't, they let their curiosity get the best of them. So,
I feel like I've had that with friends I know that have done OnlyFans, but I don't subscribe. Like I don't know if this happens on X, formerly known as Twitter, where people like post like sneak peeks of their content, and I would like poke around and see friends, and I even felt weird about that. So family members, like I can maybe understand the curiosity, but to actually subscribe and like want to see is, I guess it also depends on what what the relationship is. Like, is it cousin, brother, dad, sister? Like, I'm assuming male, but maybe not. You know what I mean?
yeah, like, and I can't presume to say who it is. I think I know who it would be, and it would be an uncle, and he is gross, and I already know that. So,
Let's have him on the show. Can you call him
yeah.
speakerphone? That is kind. So when I was thinking about you coming on the show, I'm like, okay, like when did I even meet Cadence? Because I know we've been in each other's orbit for a long time, and my earliest memory. is of you being on Cupcake Girls. Cupcake Girls, is that what
Yeah.
it
Cupcake
Cupcake Girls?
Girls, yeah.
Yeah. And that was the dawn kind of reality TV. Like we hadn't gotten to Housewives. We hadn't gotten to like the docu soaps. It was very much like workplace things like that. And you were the first person I knew that was on a reality show. And there was a scene where you were like cleaning the bathroom and you were like
Yeah.
very Paris Hilton. Um,
Ugh.
yeah, what was that like back then? Tell me about that experience.
Um, I mean, at the time, I mean, I was like a baby tran. I was so excited to be on TV. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm famous," you know? It was in retrospect, like, I mean, it was really interesting, first of all, to see how a show like that is made because, like, it was essentially scripted, of course, and, like, they would be like, "This is the situation. This is how we want you to react." You would film it, and then they'd be like, "Get angrier. Do it again. Do it more like this." And yeah, I mean, it was weird to suddenly like, I think the vast majority of people in the world have never heard of or seen that show, but when you were in Vancouver, like, I would have random people come up to me and, like, they feel like they know you, and so that was
Yeah.
weird.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is. My friend recently said fame is a spectrum, honey. So, like a lot of us in nightlife in that time, we were famous because in our minds we were related
Yeah.
to that. But I mean, at least you were on TV. So people were like legit coming up to you and were like, I saw you on TV. You weren't just like completely delusional thinking it.
No, I literally had a girl once, like, burst into tears, like, lose her mind when she met me.
What?
Yeah, it was really cute.
What did she like? What was causing the emotional reaction?
She was just like, "Oh my God, I love you so much. You're so inspiring," which is like a thing that cis girls love to say to trans
Oh
girls.
my God. Like
Stunning
inspiring
and
what way? Like
brave.
you
You're so
want to
stunning and
transition?
brave. No, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but it was
And
cute.
what year was that? Like 2007, 8, 9?
No, so I think that would have been like 2009,
Okay.
2010. Yeah.
Okay. So another thing I think of when I think about you and that time was there was not the I guess, mainstream conversation about trans experiences, period. And
No.
so you were probably like you or Kwana were one of the first trans women I met. And even back then, my brain was like, okay, so drag, trans, I don't really understand. So you, I mean, on Canadian TV, were probably maybe the first trans woman on TV.
I mean, I think Kink, there was a show called Kink that was
Ah,
filmed and they had a few. Um, but like crazily enough, and I cannot find it. It's been like wiped off the internet. But at that time, there was like the CTV website had this article that was like the top 10 trans characters or actors on television. And like I was on the list.
whoa.
But that is like there were none. That's
Yeah.
why I was on the list. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's wild. And also, yeah, speaks to the time. Now I feel like there is more visibility, but like, do you feel like back then, not that you were being trans or is because you were on the show, because you already worked there, but did you have a sense of like, I need to be a certain way because I'm trans and visibility and being on TV and also where you were in your own transition journey, right? Like,
I mean, yeah, it's funny to look back on. I definitely think that there was like a bit of an exploitative vibe to how they like utilized my transition or my transness on the show. It was though like it it became a little bit challenging, especially in the future, like looking for other work because I was portrayed in the workplace as being very like, I'm going to do whatever I want and you can't tell me what to do and like kind of a brat.
Paris
Um
Hilton.
But that said, like, yes, I was acting and yes, it was like a heightened version, but was it a totally inaccurate portrayal of how I was in that workplace? No, absolutely not.
From the
So,
from what I hear from people who've done reality TV, it's like it's you, but it's a version of you turned up. It's not
yeah.
fake. It's just like they're trying to get that character out.
Totally, and I think, like, we all kind of know, even if you've only ever been on like, your dad is filming at your birthday party on the camcorder, like, we all know that we're not our necessarily authentic self when we know there's a camera on,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I like my dream is to confront somebody like on Housewives and like have that whole dramatic moment. But I've heard from Girls on Drag Race, I've had Housewives on my show, that it's not like, first of all, it's intense because there's lots of cameras. There's no dramatic music in the background. Like you're just fucking sitting at a restaurant, and usually there's no music at all because they don't have fucking licenses. So the
Yeah?
drama is like 10 times more intense because the crew is looking at you. They're probably like trying to get a reaction. And if you are emotional, it's like, it's, yeah.
Well, and it's funny you keep bringing up Housewives because the same production company that did Cupcake Girls did Real Housewives of Vancouver, and they actually, like, I had meetings with them to be on the original season of that as one of the, like, main cast members. Uh,
What?
yeah, it didn't end up happening because at the time, like, the person who reached out and wanted to meet with me from production was under the impression that I was still with my, like, very wealthy boyfriend who had just broken up with me. So, I think
Whoa.
once they figured out that, like, the money wasn't there and the lifestyle was not at the level it had been for the year prior, it kind of, like, fizzled out.
Okay, wait, 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 wait. First of all, was not prepared for that. Okay, so how did production find out about you? Like, are they just looking for rich men in Vancouver and finding out who these guys are dating?
So, production for that, I'd have no idea how they would have gone about choosing other, like, the people who ended up on the show, but I had members of that production team on Facebook who could see
Mm.
that, like, my boyfriend's last name and that I had moved into, like, a $4 million penthouse and that I always was wearing designer, and I think they kind of were like, "Okay, let's go talk to her."
Oh, Cadence, we need that to happen. I've heard that they're thinking about a reboot for Vancouver. I know
Oh
that
my
they've
god.
brought in Mary and Ronnie and Reiko and Christina to sort of see what they're up to, like testing it out. And I know Toronto recently filmed something. So listen, now you don't got a man, but you got the money, honey.
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
I have my own
Okay.
money.
Okay, okay, praying. All right, good. Cupcake Girls, check. Didn't know you were potentially Real Housewives, still open in the future. Let's talk about the club, honey, because that is also where you and I orbited each other. And I talk about this a lot on the show. Like, nightlife was so important to me creatively, like with my music, like meeting my community, getting to know who I was. I found it spiritual. Like, I was experiencing presence, power the greater than myself, just like out of my head, and not always in healthy ways, but in ways regardless. It expands your mind and your experience in the way that you connect with other people. What was your experience of nightlife back then?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely 2 sides to it when I look back on it now, but at the time, I definitely found in nightlife a sense of belonging and authenticity that I had never been able to, like, bring to fruition in my day-to-day life. Um I really, the second I found it, I just wanted to be there all the time, and for a few years, I was. So, yeah.
You and me both.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Do you have any like standout memories of us together at the club?
Um, for some reason, it's funny because I was thinking about this today before we got on the call, and I was thinking of and I don't remember the specifics, I just remember that we were in that alley behind the junction, which I used to call my office.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh my
Oh, fuck
god, like,
yeah.
sitting on that, like, retainer wall in the parking area behind, and just, like, the absolute debauchery of that alley. The shit I got up to in that alley. I remember one of my favorite stories is remember Kiki? Kiki
Yeah, Kiki
Lahore?
Lahore, yeah.
So, I was, like, mid-conversation in the front of the club, and she comes stumbling around the corner from the alley, and she's like, 'cause we called it my office. She goes, "Miss Matthews, you have a call on line 2." And I was like, "I'm so sorry, I have to take this." Just like
I see
traipsed
it.
back there. Yeah.
You know what? I remember like I remember more the alley of the Odyssey, but I mean, I
Oh,
feel like I would go to the bar and then spend 99.9% of my time in the alley talking to people, smoking, fucking making plans, shooting my music video. Like, I mean, just like you said, complete debauchery. But was I ever in the bar? Like maybe when they played Bad Romance, but besides that, I was in the alley, huh?
yeah, the alley or the bathroom for sure.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. That's right. If these stalls could talk, honey. But you are sober now, right?
I am. Yeah.
How long have you been sober?
I've been clean and sober for almost 4 years. Yeah.
Wow, congrats. That's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I think that it's not easy when you are just kind of like trying to do it on your own and like white knuckling it. But I really believe in and follow like a program of recovery that helps. It doesn't feel like work to me. It just feels like as long as my spiritual condition is a certain way, it's easy. So,
Good, good, good,
yeah.
good. Did you find the spiritual part of that program easy? Because I've spoken and experienced people who can't get past the God thing and it prevents them from recovery.
So I definitely like the first time I ever encountered it, it put the hairs on the back of my neck up and I was like, "Oh my god, this is a cult. Get me out of here." Um Obviously like I've experienced like a lot of religious persecution throughout my life and my transition, and I had sort of the same aversion to the God word that I think a lot of queer people would experience, but it started as like a fake it till you make it thing for me, and I would say I've always been a very spiritual person. I still felt like an asshole, like getting on my knees and praying. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This doesn't feel real. And then I very quickly like saw it working in my life and came to a place of just like, I don't presume to know what God or the universe is. Like, I think anyone who says they know exactly what it is or how it works is a liar. So I'm just like, does it matter what it is? No. I talk to it, I say thank you, and it works for me. Yeah.
I feel like that is the approach because you can get too in your head about trying to define it and it doesn't matter. I feel like first of all, your point of nobody can describe it. Whenever people's like, I know for sure this is the thing. I like when I was younger for sure, I would gravitate towards that kind of like they know. But now I'm like, you don't. And if you are that confident that you do, I feel like it's more of a red flag than anything.
100%. And yeah. The people who wanna be like, "Well, I know that God doesn't like this because the Bible says so,"
Oh
I just don't
God.
have time for that. I'm like, "The Bible was written by men."
The Bible
Like,
was first of all, the Bible, like there was so many stories that they pieced together and left out. Because I'm reading the Book of Enoch right now, and honey, we're fucking part alien. Okay, that's what they say. That's stuff.
100%, 100%, we're like part primate and part alien seeding
Okay,
situation.
listen.
I'm right there with you.
Okay, we can end the interview right there because that's pretty much that's like I am so down that. So I love aliens. I'm so into that like that world, UFOs and stuff. And
100%.
are you really into it too?
Yes, and I'm not kidding. I'm like, if there's not part of my DNA that is like reptilian, then like I know it. I
You
just
want to
know
be
it.
evil, you evil
Yeah,
bitch.
I'm a Slytherin. What can I say?
Have you seen Age of Disclosure, the new documentary? It just
No.
came out. Okay,
Okay,
check it
no,
out. We'll
no.
talk later. Um, so my thing is when I get down a rabbit hole of UFOs, I know I need to slow down when they start saying like Jesus was a hybrid. Even though I kind of believe it, I'm like, okay, Evan in the other room is like, okay, Peter, you need to like take a couple weeks and then go back to the normal side of the UFO conversation. But honey, I'm with you. The pyramids, Jesus being an alien. Yep.
I actually like I'm such a conspiracy theorist. Like I love all the conspiracy theories, and I have to be very careful because it does like I don't even need like real evidence. If you present it to me in a compelling enough way, I start to believe it.
Bitch,
So,
me in too. And I
yeah,
feel like that's a good quality because I'm like, I believe people. If
we're
somebody's telling me,
open-minded.
yes, honey.
Have you ever watched the Flat Earther documentary?
No, I've seen YouTubes
I
and TikToks,
I
but
had to turn it off because I was like, "Oh my god, they're right." And then I was like, "Okay, no, we're not doing that
okay, I'm
today."
gonna look at. We'll do another episode on Flat Earth. Yeah, conspiracy sisters, got it. One thing I wanted to say about the program, my experience with it was, and I've talked about this on the show, and I think it's important, is the idea of surrender. And there's so many things that help my spirituality that have nothing to do with like religion or praying. It's like the daily practice of being like, I don't have control over anything. And I'm just gonna like I'm consciously going to try and remember that when something doesn't go my way and at least attempt to not freak out or let it go.
Totally, and I think, like, for me, the 2 biggest pieces are that, like, the acceptance and surrender piece, and then the gratitude piece, and when I
Mm,
put them together is where the real magic is. That's, like, what has allowed me like, if I'm having whatever, the shittiest thing is happening to me, if I'm able to pause and be like, nothing is happening to me, everything is happening for me, and one day I will see why this needed to happen because it's directing me somewhere else, then like nothing is actually shitty. They're just things that are happening, you know?
I love that. I love that happening for me, not to me. Great perspective. That's really
And
good.
you
I
don't
like
need
that.
to know why. It's
Yeah.
above your pay grade.
So speaking of gratitude and pay grade, let's shift the conversation now.
Okay.
Because my first thing when you're like gratitude, I feel like easy to be grateful when you got check, 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 like healthy, money, sobriety, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Um, but I want to know how the OnlyFans thing started. Like, take me back to like the deciding, not maybe moment, but you must have been thinking about it for a while, and then at
Yeah.
some point you decided to do it. So, what was going on in your mind, and what made you decide to do it?
So I think I had always been someone who likes to, like, set up my phone and do slutty photo shoots of myself, like, I've always done that since I was old enough to hold a camera. So, um
I wouldn't want to know how young you were when
no,
you
we don't
held it.
wanna no, you'll get flagged and taken off the internet. Um But then, yeah, like I remember during the pandemic is when I saw like a lot of talk in media and social media about OnlyFans being a thing and how many people were turning to that. And I think that's when I initially, like, signed up for an account, but at that time, I did, like, what most people do, which is they sign up for an account, they post, like, one barely risque picture, they don't try to, like, direct anyone to the page, and then they kind of are like, "No, I can't do it," you know? Um
You're like posting one thing to see, okay, I posted one thing. Where are my 1 million followers?
Yeah, and that's the thing about OnlyFans is that, like, there is no explore function, there is no searchability on the platform, like, the only traffic you're getting is traffic that you're generating externally from the platform itself.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess though when like I have followed a few guys for like the free trial and then I'm like, this is the thing. And I don't know if this is how you do yours and if it is, no shade, but like, you see them, they're hot, you click in, you get the free profile, and then it's like, shirtless, but that's it. And then you pay more and you're sort of like going through the rabbit hole of payment. And it wasn't the best experience, but to your point of searchability, once I click on them, it's all I fucking see in my algorithm. And then it's like guys like them. So it's probably a harder lift, but once you get into somebody's feed, you're probably showing up a lot.
It's and over the years, I've tried different strategies in terms of like what is in front of and behind the paywall. Um, but no, like there is so much explicit shit of me for free on the internet at this point that's meant to direct people to OnlyFans, and then from there it only gets more so. So,
I should have searched for that. I should have Googled you for a little bit longer.
oh
I'll
my
do
God.
I'll do that after dinner tonight
Yeah,
while I'm watching
something to
Housewives.
look forward to.
So it was a pandemic, you're hearing about OnlyFans. What was your financial situation like at that time?
So bad. So I was working as like a visual manager in retail. So I was managing merchandising for like a large fast fashion retailer. I We went on lockdown. We were all like temporarily laid off and living off of CERB. At that time, I had, like, abandoned recovery and gone back out, so I was, like, home, alone, fucked
Ugh,
up. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was not cute.
No money. Well, I mean, $2,000 a month, going stir crazy, relapsing. And you're like, I have a great idea. I'm going to get naked on the internet.
Yeah. Okay, but and this is what's funny about the trajectory. So, I think when people hear that narrative, they're like, "Yeah, that sounds about right for what people think about, like, someone who starts in OnlyFans." Um, but I never really, like, took it anywhere during that time, and then when I got sober again, uh, I decided to stop. I had a few things happen. My parents found out about it, and
How?
so I had sent my mom, like, a reel that I posted on Instagram because I thought she would think it was cute, and then she could see, like, the watermark of my, like, handle on Instagram, which at the time was the same as my handle on OnlyFans. So she was like, "What is that?" And she Googled it, and then she saw that I was on OnlyFans. So my parents called me and, like, slut shamed me on the phone for, like, 2 hours on speakerphone while I was, like, bawling my eyes out. And then I also was getting into a relationship with somebody who was, like, definitely not comfortable with me having it, and so at that time, I stopped, and then about a year later, that relationship ended, and at first, it was kind of like a "fuck you" thing. I was like, "I'm doing OnlyFans again," and then I also had kind of hit a point with work. I had switched the company that I worked for, but I was just, like, caught in retail management hellscape. Like, I hated my life, and I started approaching OnlyFans as a business. Uh, I was literally working, like, every waking moment of my life, either at the retailer I worked for or on OnlyFans. And, like, I replaced my income from my full-time job within 30 days, and I was like, "I'm quitting my job." So, very,
Whoa.
very quickly by then, like, I'd been sober over a year, and I went to my parents actually, because like, I work a program of recovery, that means I don't get to, like, lie and be shady. And I was like, "I quit my job. This is what I'm doing. I know you're not gonna like it. If you were like, 'Yay, good for you,' I'd be like, 'What's wrong with you?'" So you're just gonna have to love me anyway and get over it, basically.
And I mean, they still love you, obviously.
Of course, yeah, and it was kind of cute, like, my dad called me and was like, "I just wanna make sure that, like," he wanted to make sure that, like, my head was in the right place about it and, like, my reasons for it, and I think at this point, my dad is proud of me because I've built, like, a successful business, and I've sort of, like, secured a really stable financial situation and future for myself, which I don't think he ever thought would happen, you know?
It's like when I was thinking about you and you doing it, there was two things. Is like my first thought was like, that's so fucking cool that she's been able to build this life for herself, and you are coming across like really happy and confident on your content. And then I also had a thought about like the fetishization of trans women, right? And like
Yeah.
that whole conversation and how you internally, I mean, my sense is that you don't really care what people think, but how do you reconcile that? Like, I love what I'm doing, but am I also creating more problems?
You know what's this is such a huge piece of like the why um and of the way that I do things now. So, um in my experience, like I have been fetishized and objectified and treated like a piece of meat since I was 16, you know? So, it's like I definitely learned that, like, regardless because prior to this, I actually have always been like, I'm a long-term relationship girly. I don't do like the casual sex scene. It's like not my thing. And it didn't matter. Like men always treated me a certain way, no matter what I did. And I think eventually I got to a point where I was like, I if I don't monetize that, I'm an idiot, you know?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna monetize that," and
Yeah.
what's funny is that in the process, there have been many things where I looked at what was working for other trans creators, for example, on Instagram, and there was a time where I was like, "There is no way you're gonna catch me on Instagram, like, untucked with my bulge out on the internet. There's no
Walking down
fucking
the street,
way.
bitch. Yeah.
There's no way." And eventually, I got to a point where I was like, "I gotta do it. I gotta do it." And at first, it felt very uncomfortable, but what's funny about it is that in getting used to doing that, I've had to, like, unpack, like, why is there such an intense feeling of shame around that? And how much of that is due to like internalized transphobia? And what does it look like to unpack that and be like, I have a
Yeah.
dick, get over
Yeah.
it? Like,
Yeah, there's so many layers to what I've observed because I'm not trans, so I don't know for sure. But it's like the first thing is your body. Like that's the main thing is like my mind is not matching my body. So you go on that journey of like changing it, but then there's sex, like sex with your new body or a version of your body, and then it's the perception of other people, and then it's like how you also navigate the world. Like there's a whole conversation about passability, and I'm sure that affects how people get employed and how they navigate their life. So I can imagine, yeah, letting your dick hang out is so many like hoops that you jump through in your mind. Like, wasn't I trying to get away from this? But then like
yeah,
it's also empowering and people are liking it. Like,
yeah. And it really has like I I don't think I realized how sexually repressed I was and how shameful I felt about my own body and about my own transness, and how, like, now I feel more confident and more comfortable in my own skin and uh, uh, to a degree that I truly did not think was possible.
Was there a specific thing where, like, did you have a moment where you were like, I actually fucking love this?
I mean, it's hard to say. I don't think it was, like, a distinct moment. Uh, I mean, obviously, there are moments where like, my entire lifestyle is completely different.
Yeah.
So, I have lots
Yeah.
of like, where, like, I go buy something on a whim that I previously would have been like, "That was totally unattainable," and I'm like,
Like what? Like
I
what?
would do a
Like
hell of
what?
a lot worse. Like, my Louis Vuitton rep loves to see me coming, let's just put it that way.
I
Yeah,
love it.
I'm there a lot.
There's there when Caitlyn Jenner came out, there was a whole pushback about how her transition was only accessible because she had money, right? Like she I don't know what surgery she got, but it was that was an immediate thing I remember in the media people saying. Also, she's Republican. So now your lifestyle is different, you're making money, you also look different. So when you think about like your transition before versus now, how do I say this? Like, what role could you assume or think that money makes in somebody's transition and
Oh,
how happy
it's
they are?
I mean, and it depends, 'cause I know lots of trans women who don't they would never want to have all the surgery that I've had or that someone else has had, and everybody's dysphoria and what they do or don't feel uncomfortable about or with is totally different, but I would say that, like, for someone like me who has experienced, like, crippling gender dysphoria for like, as long as I can remember, obviously, money makes a huge difference. Like, before I became successful on OnlyFans, I had already probably spent close to $100,000 on it on my transition, and now it's, like, double that, and I still have more to go. So,
When you like look in the mirror, do you see the person you thought you like that you envisioned you would become when you were younger?
I definitely see, like, very close to it. I wouldn't say I don't know that I have, like, a super specific ideal, and I do try to be kind of careful with it just because like, there's gender dysphoria, and then there's body dysmorphia, and then there's, my family and friends are often like, "You need to chill. You're addicted to filler. You're addicted to plastic surgery," and I'm like low key, whenever someone says, "You're addicted to plastic surgery," I think of that People magazine cover with Heidi Montag, and I'm like, "Ah, slay." You
Oh my
know?
God.
I'm like, "I need
I
a publicist, they can just talk to him."
I opened for Heidi Montag this summer at Pride. And
Ugh.
she's still, so I remember when that cover came out, and for some reason I'm like, that's not gonna last. Like plastic surgery doesn't last, but she still looks the same. I was surprised at
I
that for some
mean,
reason.
well, okay, I think she looks a lot more there was a long time where she looked a lot more like normal in between then and now. Like, when they did those photos for that People magazine shoot, she was, like, barely recovered.
I know,
So
I know.
so, like, everything is tight and swollen and doesn't move. And then
Mm,
as it settled, she looked a lot more natural, and I mean, now she's, like, 20 years older and she's full
yeah.
of Botox.
She looks
So,
good. Like
she looks
she
great.
looks good. I mean, she's kind of achieved that agelessness. I think if she kept going, maybe not, but yeah. I assume there's a fine line. And when you have money, it's so easy to, I mean, when I go get Botox, it's so easy to just like go a little further, go a little further. So if you don't have a budget, who cares? And it's not permanent.
Yeah, actually, recently was the first time I've ever done, like, a whole face of Botox. I'd only ever done, like, a tiny bit, And
Okay.
I was just like, "How many units do I need to, like, fucking freeze everything?" Yeah,
Wow. How many units did you get? Do you remember?
300?
What? I think
Yeah.
the most I've gotten is 60.
Yeah, no, like,
300?
forehead, eyes, nose, lips, smile
Oh my god.
lines, like,
Oh my
jawline,
god.
neck,
Oh my god.
everything.
You made a post recently where you were listing the surgeries because you make a lot of
My
comment where
god.
people are in your comments like, "That's a man, you're a man, you've gone too far," and you're sort of like, "Yeah, these are all of the things that I've done." Can you tell me like what those things are?
Yeah, buckle up. Okay. I've had a rhinoplasty. I've had a type 3 forehead reconstruction with a brow lift and a scalp advancement.
I
I've
don't know what
had
that is.
they like take your face off and cut your skull apart and put your forehead back together. And then I've had cheek implants.
Oh my God. Okay, implants. So Mary Zilba was accused of this and she claims no. But what is it? Is
It's
it silicone?
silicone, but it's
Okay.
like hard silicone.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So I had a cheek implant. Uh, what else have I had? I've had buccal fat pad removal. I've had a lip lift, like
Yeah,
a
your lips
surgical
are
one.
lipping, honey. Yeah.
Thank you. I've had my chin and my jawline recontoured. I've had 2 breast augmentations. I had, like, a mini BBL, and then I had ass implants at one time, which were then removed because I had, like, life-threatening complications,
Oh,
and
geez.
then yeah, I regularly get Botox, and right now, like, I literally have, like, 60 syringes of filler in my face.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
It's
when
like,
these old men on the internet are like, "You look fake, you look plastic," and I'm like,
yeah,
"Thank you.
that's the aesthetic, right? Like
Thanks
that.
for noticing."
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's like Amanda Lepore is like obviously the most extreme version that I've seen, but there is like there's an intent. You're not like, "Oh my God, how did this happen? How did I wake up like this?"
N No, and what's I was just talking about Amanda Lepore, and I remember being a kid and seeing her and being like, "Oh my god, she looks like a freak." But now, I, like sometimes I look at her and I'm like, "She looks good." You
She has
know?
no age. Like she could be 70 or 40.
Yeah, and that's like I want people to be like, "Is she 27 or 57?" Like, I don't know.
I like that. That's a good goal.
Yeah.
Ageless. Like my friend Jason, I feel like he's 55. He has sort of transcended age and gender. Like he's
Yeah.
just kind of like that in between heavenly, ethereal, yeah, thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get that.
And I remember very early in my transition hearing someone say, "I would rather look like a woman who's had too much plastic surgery than a man who hasn't had enough." And I was like, "Yeah,
I
that
can
makes
hear the people in the
sense."
comment section right now to that comment. But yeah, I mean, you have a sense of ownership over everything, and I think you have to in what you're doing and to be your own advocate, I would say, because yeah, people will come for you when you're open in any way, but especially in 2026 as a trans content creator on OnlyFans. There's just like so many reasons for people to come and troll. So I think I would take the same approach that you did, to be honest. You're just like using it as a way to amplify your own image, experience, brand, whatever.
Well, and, like, I'm trolling them just as
Yeah.
hard. Like, that's why they're there, right? I realized, like, quite a while ago that the way I make the most money is if I piss off the people who hate me as much as I can.
Because they pay to come back or like how?
Because if they okay, a lot of times the guy who is commenting like you're a man is the same guy that's subscribing 100%. And if he's not, the guy who's commenting you're a man is still boosting my engagement, which means you're boosting my reach, which means more people are seeing my content.
Yeah,
So if
got
you're
it.
watching it and commenting because you're pissed off that some tranny came up on your Facebook,
Yeah. Facebook is a
boo-hoo.
weird place to see it, by the way. I was not expecting Facebook, but I'm like, Cadence is there, honey.
You know
That's
what?
her.
And
Yeah.
for a long time, I tried to keep them very separate, and I was like, I don't want anybody on Facebook to even know about this. And then I don't even remember how, but I started to, yeah, Facebook is like, I do really well on Facebook. I
Yeah.
get a
I mean,
lot of traffic.
I don't
So,
know. Well, what's your fan base? Like, do you have demographics of what age they
yeah,
are?
they're like men from between 25 and 45. And so there's definitely like an untapped market in that a lot of men who are older will have Facebook, but not Instagram or TikTok, right?
I, yeah, my take was the potential customers are on Facebook, those guys. And they
Yeah.
don't maybe know or have the confidence to search. Like, they don't fucking know TikTok, maybe, or like even Instagram. They might not even know OnlyFans until you come across their feed and you're like, click my link.
Yeah, totally.
So you mentioned, I want to talk a little bit more about money now, and you tell me if it's too intrusive. You don't have to answer, but you said in 30 days you started making more than your regular salary. What was that at the time, if you don't mind
A
me asking?
After taxes, I was taking home like 3 grand a month from my
Okay.
job. Yeah.
And then what is the, because that's fast. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Um, what was the growth like after that? Like, talk me through the, I guess, financial journey of that moment to where you are now.
Um, it's been a long process, and I mean, there's an ebb and a flow. It's not always steady. I would say that there has been, uh, like 99% of the time I grow each month more than I like was at the last month. There have been periods where I have a ton of growth really fast, and there have been periods where I don't. It really because the all of that growth is coming from me, like, figuring out different marketing strategies on different platforms and, like, how motivated I am, it really it fluctuates a lot, but, yeah, now, I mean, I make well over 6 figures, like, I make, like, what a brain surgeon in Canada makes, and they have to go to school
I
for, like, 15 years,
Yeah, you went to the
so
school of hard knock life, honey. You were in the
yeah.
club with me. Wow. Okay, so you make as much as a brain surgeon. I don't know how much they make. I'll Google it after. What you have, like, there must be moments in your journey where, first of all, does OnlyFans, like, is it like a monthly payment? Is it like bi-weekly? How often do you get paid? How does that work?
So I get paid out as often as I request a payout, but
Oh,
I generally request a payout every week.
okay. So you
Yeah.
see it accumulating in your account and you can take it or save it as you need.
So
There,
there's a rollover period. So let's say somebody buys a video from me today, that money shows up in my pending, and then OnlyFans holds it for about a week, just in case that person tries to do like a chargeback or something. Yeah.
what happens if OnlyFans goes down or like Trump is like no more OnlyFans? You must have to like take out the money at some at
Yeah.
your yeah, is there like a safeguard from like the money being in there versus in your account?
So technically, like, if OnlyFans decided that somebody, say, had broken their terms of service, they can just like deactivate the account and keep all the money that's in it. So you do
Oh
want
my
to,
god.
yeah, you do want to like take your money out fairly regularly. You don't want to use it like a bank account, that's for sure. As far as like Trump uh,
Yeah.
delegalizing pornography, I'm just like, I do think that there is like a potentially very real risk of stuff like that happening. I also think that like sex workers and particularly like queer trans sex workers have always found a way. And if that happens, we'll find another way.
Totally.
So,
You have that
yeah,
resilience. I
yeah,
remember Bad Bobby. Cash Me Outside, how about that? She like
bad
scares
baby. Yeah.
Bad Baby. She had a screenshot and it was like $10 million in her OnlyFans. And there was the content creator recently who did, I think she slept with like 1,000 guys in 24 hours and was
Bonnie
like,
Blue. Yeah.
yeah, that's insane. And she like, I like $100 million, maybe not in that, but like the amount of money these women make. I sometimes I see the amount and I'm like, there's no way that that's real. There's no fucking way.
I know for a fact that it's real because like I for such a long time, like I was looking at, like 3,000, 10,000 a month coming in and like now that I'm right now I'm in the top 0.2 percentile of all the OnlyFans users in the world. So being in like the top within that top 1%, I'm still not making $1 million a year.
Yeah.
So, like, to know that, there are girls that their percentile is 0.0 something, like, those are the people that are making, like, $1 million a month or more.
$1 million a month. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I
Yeah.
think, like, Black China or Cardi B or Iggy Azalea, like and as far as I'm aware, they don't even have, like, nudity. They kind of use it as, like, a Patreon. It's like, if you want exclusive content, then follow me on OnlyFans, but they're yeah, people like that are making, like, 10 mil a month.
That is insane. You like I've always been more motivated by fame than money. But there must be moments when you start making a lot of money. Is it like a high where you're like, what the fuck? Or like imposter
Absolutely.
syndrome where you're like, wait, is this right? Like I need to check something. Is this really happening?
Um, so for me, like, and it's funny what you say about fame versus money, because growing up, like, all I wanted was to be famous, and I was
Yeah.
obsessed with that idea. And now, like, the less famous I can be and the more money I can make, like, that's where I want to live.
Why?
Um,
Like why?
I live like a very quiet, simple life, and I like it that way. Um, yeah. I definitely and, like, even things like getting, like, the hate comments or, like, when I go to the vape store and the guy behind the counter, like, knows who I am and calls me by name, and I'm like, "Oh, you've seen me naked." It's,
Oh
like,
my
weird.
God.
Um, and yeah, I'm not motivated by that anymore at all. I'm definitely motivated by money in terms of, like, imposter syndrome. I no, I'm always if anything, I find it hard to kind of, like, really sit in the gratitude for it and be like, "I've accomplished something absolutely crazy," because my brain is always pushing to, like, I wanna make 100,000 a month. I wanna do this. I wanna do that," Like, I'm always trying and I'll get there
Yeah.
because 'cause I'm always trying to get there.
You have like my experience of like making things happen is once you take the risk and you start getting results, you know that it's possible. So it's just a matter of like focus, consistency, and moving towards it. So you experience that like financial abundance and you're like, oh my God, this is available to me. I can do this and I'm making this amount. I can totally make that. And you're so open and then you imagine yourself being broke in your 20s, how making $1 million a month is like unfathomable.
Yeah, and it's funny because I know that a lot of people would take offense to me like equating my relationship with God to my career on OnlyFans, but like they're 100% related because I thank God every day for like the limitless abundance that has been showing up in my life and for my job and the roof over my head and all the resources I have and um such a big part of it is expressing that gratitude piece and, like, continuing to, like, visualize and manifest what I
Yeah.
want for myself.
There is like that's why I started this podcast is like superficial spirit. There is a connection between fame obsession, celebrity, reality TV, drugs, alcohol, glamour. All of that stuff can be connected to divine. It's like your personal experience. Like if you feel at peace internally, then you're doing something right. If that's
Yeah,
making a lot of money, if it's making no
totally.
money but painting in the alley, honey, whatever that is.
God doesn't give a shit that I'm on the internet with my junk out. He really doesn't care. You
You're
know, he just
subscribed,
wants me to
honey.
be happy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest misconception about being a full-time OnlyFans content creator?
That it's easy or that it's like the lazy way to make money. I think I mean, yeah, it's so much work to get to the point that I'm at now. And even at the point that I'm at now where I can kind of step back and like breathe a little bit, no. I work a lot. I work very, very hard.
What is like a typical workday?
A typical workday would be like I wake up quite early and I like do whatever my personal morning routine stuff. I am doing like a full glam hair and makeup, and then I'm creating content for multiple social media platforms. I'm posting all of that. Then I make like an astronomical amount of content for OnlyFans. I'm posting at least 6 times a day there.
7
Um,
days a week?
yeah,
And this is all like do you do like one shoot for like an hour, however long it takes you, and then just chop it up into like
it
reels or
depends. It depends. Yeah. But
six
like
posts a day? That's a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah. So just like an astronomical amount of content production and then like everything that goes into that. Like I'm lighting it all myself. I'm editing it all myself. I'm doing all of it. And then of course there's like all the stuff that comes with being an entrepreneur. Like anybody who's running a business, like just the amount of paperwork that I have to do when it comes to like
Taxes.
taxes
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask about that. Sometimes people make a lot of money fast and forget that they have to pay taxes. Yeah,
I'm terrible with money.
yeah.
Terrible with money. I'm starting to get better because I think when you've spent your whole life being terrible with money and not having any, it's kind of like whatever. But yeah, when you have like these huge amounts of money coming in and you're like not you don't know what to do with it, it's like you panic a little bit. Yeah.
Have you thought about hiring somebody to help you?
I definitely like I don't there are bits and pieces where I outsource stuff. Like I do have an assistant that I hired who helps me with like social media and strategizing and filming content and that kind of thing. So,
Do you
yeah.
film with people or is it all you by yourself?
So the bulk of my content is solo content, and for a long time I didn't want to do collabs, but I did start doing them. I quickly found that like it's funny because I was so nervous to do it, and then the second that the camera was on, like I just go full business mode. Like she's a director, honey. I was like
You're in it.
I was in it and I was like let's get this done. Yeah.
You're like Kris Jenner and Kim Kardashian in one
Yeah.
because you have to do
Yeah.
both. I fucking love it.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, listen, it's been an hour. I really enjoyed this conversation. You've been so open, and I know you and I had a lot of back and forth before this interview about like what you were comfortable talking about. So I appreciate the openness because I think with this topic, it's important that people understand the context because if you're talking about money and sex and addiction and being trans, it's important that, yeah, people scratch the surface. Otherwise, they're only getting those friggin' reels. So thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you'll have to come back and talk about aliens.
I'm so down. Yeah.
Love it.